guys, I'm Tim.
I'm Bob.
I'm Spencer.
I'm Dan.
This is Board Game Rundown. Today, we are going to do an interview with Reed Mascola, the designer of Vigilante.
That's true.
The tableau building game, which we established.
Yeah.
Yes, with hand management.
With hand management. So if you're not familiar with the game or how to play, and we barely go into any of that in the interview itself. So Dan, where could they find that video?
I'll link one right here. We've
Watch out,
literally
Spencer.
had like 2 videos just covering it, and then we've talked about it in other videos as well. So one of them will be up there,
Right.
and that will explain how to play and everything.
Spoiler alert, it's a review for a game we all enjoyed quite a bit.
Yeah.
The Kickstarter is filling now and will be popping up in retail March 25th. So reach out to your FLGSs. Always, Bobby, what should people be doing with our videos?
You should be liking, subscribing, ringing the bell, and sharing it on all your favorite board game sites and Facebook pages and things like that.
Yeah,
share it
literally,
to your friends.
You,
all
you
of
should
it.
share it, and then if no one comments and says oh, this is really cool, you should probably be like, hey guys, why aren't you guys?
Yeah,
do you guys not like me?
This is really cool. Why aren't you?
I shared this thing. Are we not friends anymore?
Yeah.
you know.
Maybe that's why they're not friends.
Yeah, you're right.
And if you've lost friends because of us, we're sorry.
Right. So get on the Discord, send all your complaints at Dan.
At Dan, yep.
VGR.
And muting that server.
But also, that being said, get on our Discord. Engage with us. Find us on Facebook.
Yes.
All those kind of things.
We're also trying to get Blood on the Clock Tower games back going again. Mike actually was trying to get a game going tonight, but it doesn't look like we're going to have enough people. We'll see. But if you're interested in playing that game with us, Mike really wants to get that going again. So check it out.
Be a good time. All right, guys. Now to the interview. Hey, guys. With us today, we have Reed Mascola, the designer of Vigilante, a new... I keep wanting to call it like a deck builder. It's not a deck builder.
It's got cards in it.
It's a tableau builder.
Yeah,
I'm
I would
pretty
say,
sure.
how does he describe it?
Reed, how do you describe Vigilante?
I'm just glad that you guys have as much trouble as I do. Social deduction, tableau building, action management.
Okay.
Yeah, all of those things.
Nailed it.
All of those things. It's almost like you designed it. You seem really familiar with this.
Yeah,
Or he just watched our other video and he's like, I'll just say that.
I'm gonna go with that.
I played it a few times.
Just once or twice.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the genesis of Vigilante, and why has it keep pulling me away from Elden Ring that I can't totally stop playing?
So where did it come from? Where does it How did it start? So basically, a big fan of kind of superhero kind of comics, movies, and over over my adult life, I've wanted to kind of tell a story, and I would say I've always been into board games, trading card games, and I realized that this was kind of the best outlet to tell the story. For me. And I really started with the theme and built the game out from that. So I had a couple of things I was kind of working on before Vigilante. Definitely didn't kind of work out because you got to go through a couple of different designs to get get one that finally works.
As a comic book fan, I can say that the theme and your enjoyment of comic books and superheroes and the way that all works out really ties in really well. So the theme really came through, and I'm not always I don't have to have great theme in a game. I can play, this is whatever.
This tracks the board game. Push this cube.
Yeah, I can enjoy a game for being a game, but when there's a nice theme, a good theme, and
helps.
it works,
Yeah.
and it makes sense with how all the cards and everything interacts, then it's
enjoyable.
oh yeah,
More enjoyable.
It's not just pasted on. I
Right.
don't think you could just make this a train building game. Oh, we're building tracks and
Yeah.
doing
It sounds
this
like
and
a
that.
challenge.
Yeah.
Is that going to be the next
Inspired
expansion?
the sequel. Yeah.
But yeah, so how did you just pick mechanics you like in games you play, or how did you settle on the mechanics you did?
Yeah, I love social deduction. So definitely wanted to kind of, I didn't want a pure social deduction game because I feel like there's enough out there where that works. I don't feel like there's enough kind of in the space of Dead of Winter, Dark Moon,
Mhm.
BSG. Like I feel like there's not really enough kind of hybrid games like that.
You are speaking
Right.
our language.
I mean, I love like RPGs. I love the idea of building something up.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to do that also through this game.
So,
Build a
your
party.
next challenge is then the legacy version
Yeah.
of this, where you create
Yes.
your team of superheroes and then you
Keep going through.
keep going with them.
Yeah, really tell the story.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if that was a joke. But...
Oh, yeah.
I was
Yeah.
so that was going to be a question I led
Yep.
to was
Yeah,
that I
yep.
knew you had been working. I knew you'd been working on a story mode, so I was wondering about how that was coming and what you wanted to talk about that.
Yeah, it's coming along quite well. I've got basically 10 chapters. It still needs to go through a lot more playtesting, I'd say, but I would say about 80% of the art done. And yeah, it's really interesting. I wanted each chapter to feel kind of like you're building up from something previously. And also, I wanted to throw a couple of chapters in there that were just, and by chapters, I mean just kind of a different campaign kind of mission, where it was completely abstract, still the mechanics that you know, but in a very kind of different type of setting that
Sure.
kind of related to the plot and that point of the story.
Right.
So, yeah.
I was also wondering, technically backtracks a little, but so all the different superheroes in this game, like the main ones that you play as and stuff, right? So are these ideas that you had before you were working on this game, and you're like, I want a hero that does this and stuff like this, or how? Like, I guess what percentage did you come up with after the game was in production, and how many were you like, I've always wanted X hero. I think that's an awesome idea. They're being in this game, right? And stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I probably had about like 4 or 5 of them kind of in my head prior to starting on the game, and then I kind of built up a lot more after that. So definitely, I'm not sure if you remember any of these, but Fog was one of them.
We got a few in front of us, but
It's got kind of like the ice scimitar. Then you've got Yuna Yamamoto, the one that just kind of defeats Yakuza villains.
Oh, yeah.
And Tranquility, the yoga instructor, that heals. So yeah, there are a handful of them that kind of I had going in prior to starting the game, and they've been in the game basically ever since the first prototype came out.
and I have to say, like, that's some of the fun, because when some people will go through and look at every single card right before they even play the game. For me, it's like I just want to be surprised.
Right.
I want to shuffle these up, and I just want to see. And then, like, half of the fun is, oh, this guy. Like, I'm reading the ability, and then I read the name, and I'm like, oh, wait, that makes total sense. Like, if I read the name, I might have even guessed what this guy probably does.
Yeah.
It's really fun, like how Jacques Hammer.
I love it.
He's the hammer.
There you go. There's that one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
yoga instructor.
It's perfect.
Yeah, I have a couple of like thematic cards with the discard pile, the trash, where I've got Bandit the raccoon that goes digging, or basically goes digging in the trash to get another one-time use.
Well, it's funny, because we were, Trash Panda.
Trash Panda.
Yeah.
Bob had that card last time we played.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And so you were talking about having 80% of the art done for the new game. So did you stick with the same kind of art style and whatnot? Because I really like the art design on this.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, and yeah, definitely the same art style. I guess the thing about the thing that I can say about story mode is the first kind of the way the game starts. It's before anyone has superpowers.
Ooh,
Okay.
So it's basically just the agency against kind of the street gangs. So it's co-op, and basically everybody has their own kind of specialized agent. So you could be the medic or the sniper, or you could be a search and rescue, and you kind of all work together. So they're abilities that really work well in a co-op kind of setting.
Okay.
And then as you play through the chapters, different stuff happens, and you come across different types of heroes and villain groups and stuff.
That
Nice.
is
Nice.
very interesting.
Yeah.
I know.
That is not where my first thought would have went, and that is very interesting. Going off of what Bob said, because I just think it needs to be said once by each of us before the interview ends. The art of this game is
Listen,
fantastic.
Listen, you gave me a hard time during the review because I kept saying
talking
how
about
much
the
I
art.
love the art.
Yeah, I
but
know.
like, I legit like.
I keep describing as like color-based art, or like maybe like lighting-based art is a better word for it, but like everything casts a shadow or has a glare from a fire or something, and like everything in this art is so, I mean, you can see it just on the cover,
Like
but
the contrast.
yeah,
and-
the contrast that they use with the different colors, but also the literal contrast of bright
Light and
versus dark,
dark. Yeah,
and
yeah.
everything. Like it is so vibrant, and it really sticks out on everything. These player boards, the way that green, red, and orange stick out is stunning to me, and that is, you know, obviously totally personal
This-
and you know, whatever. But
I'm gonna go out on a limb.
love
This might be like some of the best art I've seen in an independent game. Like a, you know, like
Thank you.
you know,
Yeah.
for not a big, you know, big publisher, right? Like it's
again,
This
my
Dante stop. I loved it.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
Like I saw that.
So I have to say, so the idea for that one actually came from my lead artist,
Okay.
the lead artist and designer. So he did all the graphic design. That's Alvaro Calvo Escudero. He did all the graphic design. He did a lot of the big kind of panoramic kind of scenes that you see on the front covers. He didn't do all of them there because I've got a bunch of artists I'm working with on this project, but he was the one that wanted that kind of Dante stop reference in there.
Yeah. That was great.
well, and I would say even for having like what looks like up to like 4 different artists, is that the art is all very consistent.
Yeah,
though, for having different artists
I
work on
wouldn't
this.
have guessed.
I wouldn't have guessed either. Yeah, that's really awesome.
Yeah, the art style and the theme of the game remind me of a couple of superhero-ish video games, and I wonder if you have been influenced by them at all. Infamous,
Yeah, played that. Yeah,
and City of Heroes.
City of Heroes.
I did play City of Heroes a bit. Yeah,
Yes, yeah, me too.
Yeah, because a lot of this reminds me of like, you can mix
City
and match,
Heroes.
make
Yep.
things go on. I'm like, it's just like forming a team. In
I
City
had
of
that same
Heroes.
vibe too. That City of
Yeah.
Heroes vibe. Yeah.
Sure. There was do you remember the name of that role playing game we used to play where you were superheroes?
Brave New World.
Brave New World. It kind of makes me think of Brave New
Yeah, a
World,
little
like
bit.
a RPG that we played
That was a great one too.
a bit. But yeah, it just felt like a lot of this game just gave me all those vibes of like I had this Ninja Turtles role playing game as a kid, and you would roll up different. You would mutate and evolve different animals, and you spend points to give them different traits and stuff, right? And like I probably spent more time just making random characters than actually playing the game. And I keep but I get that like satisfying vibe while playing this because it's like I'm checking out
Get a
these
new
different.
character out, putting some new abilities.
Yeah,
on
these
them,
weird little superhero
items.
teams you could put
Yeah.
together and like see how they all work together and things like that. And there's interesting. Yeah, go on.
Well, hey man, you talk about your childhood,
I
man.
will. A long time ago.
Get us old guys rolling about
It was a
on my
long time
day.
ago.
That's all good. What are the Ninja Turtles though?
Oh,
Oh, don't even.
you got your Michael Bay Ninja Turtles. You little-
So something that I was wondering that might not have an answer, or it might just be like play testing and stuff, right? But I was wondering because you wanted social deduction, right? And that's something that like when Tim and I have talked about designing games, our first thought are like, so is there going to be social deduction, right? Because like it's just one of our favorite things. It's so interesting to put in a game, even when it doesn't fit. Sometimes you're just like, who cares? It's so interesting. But I was wondering what had you fall on this system of the deduction with the tokens, because like I call this kind of mechanic, and it's not the exact same, but whenever I see this kind of mechanic, I call it like the good cop, bad cop type of thing, right? To where like, I have 2 good and 1 bad,
like
and you have
the
to
game
figure out
Good
which
Cop,
one
Bad
I
Cop.
am. Yeah.
Got it.
And so I was wondering what made you fall on this token system and having 4 tokens with the 3 different types, the good, bad, neutral, instead of what other games have done, where it's just I have, a lot of games have stolen the good cop, bad cop thing,
Oh,
where
yeah,
it's
just
like
good or bad.
where it's like you have 3 cards. Whichever one you have the majority of, that's what you are, right?
Right.
I've seen a lot of that. And this one has that idea behind it, but it was like, no, I'm doing this instead. And I was wondering where that came from.
So I had good, neutral, evil from the beginning because I felt like I wanted I'm not sure if you guys have played Werewolf or Mafia.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, perfect.
Someone hasn't watched enough of our videos.
Leave them alone.
I love Chupacabra. I love the Tanner. I love all those kind of third team roles. And I think if you look at similar types of games out there, like I mentioned, BSG, Hail Hydra, any of those where there's more of a game there, and then social deduction is layered in. Generally, you only ever see good or evil.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to have that neutral layer in it, and I did have, I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure I had the allegiance tokens in since kind of the beginning, but I had it so that they were shuffled up every time.
Okay.
And I had that for the longest time. And from playtester feedback, eventually I listened because a couple of people had said it. And I tried it out without shuffling, and it got like that made the game so much better.
Oh, sure.
And by without shuffling, you mean how they are now linked to cards? Is that what you're saying? Instead of randomized?
So basically, we would still have the same allegiance tokens, but after somebody checked, they would be shuffled.
Oh,
up.
just
So
that?
you never know the same one.
No.
Yeah, that was a good call.
It's a lot better now.
I just like, so we that you can play. Well, you've got different scenarios, right? Because like the one scenario we played where we knew there was one good.
One bad guy.
And one good guy,
Oh,
but we didn't. Everybody else was
Random.
random.
Yeah.
And so we didn't we're accusing each other.
No, you're a bad guy. Well, why'd you hit him so quickly? You're so quick to hit him. Yeah.
And it ended up we were all good guys. We just
Yeah.
had varying
50,
levels of winning, based on whatever.
Fantasy draft.
Yeah, the fantasy draft one was pretty fun. But I just appreciate that there's a ton of different options in there. And then once you understand the game, it's not hard to just shuffle them and randomly just pick one. Let's do it. See what happens.
Yeah, plus with a game named Vigilante, you kind of need to have the neutral.
Yeah, 'cause not all vigilantes are on the same type of, there's
Yeah, you
lawful
have the
evil or lawful
anti-hero.
good.
You got a
Neutral
Rorschach
good,
and you've got
chaotic good. Yeah.
Absolutely.
What else?
Yeah.
Oh, go on.
Oh, sorry. No, I was gonna say. So I'm working on story mode, but I'm also working on just a proper expansion for this game.
Nice.
A smaller expansion that definitely will. It's not going to be. I would say it's not going to complicate the game more than it already is. But definitely will add a lot more scenarios.
Sure.
Okay. It's like scenarios, some heroes, some villains, things like that.
Well,
I've got a couple of different ones. There's one where it's basically majority is neutral, so you've got one good, one evil, two neutral, or one good, one evil, three neutral.
Okay.
We've got one where it's like the one you played where you've got one good and random for the rest, but you do kind of like I'm trying to remember the name, Crossfire, where you look at it and then you shuffle them up again and you deal them out again. So it's you've got a little bit of information on what might be out there.
Okay.
Okay. So once you've dealt out the 4 random cards, you'll take those. Everybody gets so I know there's one of those. Then shuffle them back up and re-deal those cards back out again.
Weird.
Yeah.
Nice.
I like it.
And then I got one where the hero market becomes the villain market, so that you see who you're attacking.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
And then you don't know who you're recruiting.
well, yeah, you get a little pool to draw from every time.
Well, I think if you set yourself up really well, though, because
You left room in the box.
no, I just mean that the game lends itself to expansions,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
very
It does.
easily. Like there's a lot of things I feel like if you just had a really good idea,
Like, ooh, I could put
it
that
wouldn't
there.
be hard for you to just
Work it in.
pop out a small, expansion, that's just some cards.
Definitely.
So it would be easy to make, cheap to make, right? And then easy to get out there and
You don't have to overhaul the whole system to
Right.
just implement some new things.
right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm wondering about a super villain, idea coming down the
Yeah.
line where it's like, oh, you beat all the henchmen.
Yeah.
The
Like another
big bad shows
another
up.
tier past level 3 or something
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
something I was looking forward to. Like the final boss.
Oh, a final
Yeah,
boss.
final boss.
No comment.
Nice.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
Okay, so I got to ask. So since you're like a comic book guy, so what are some of your favorites? Like, I mean,
Oh.
it doesn't have to be like hipster choices. I unabashedly love Spider-Man, Captain America. Like a lot of them, just the main ones, the flagships.
Iron Man.
Yeah.
I kind of like a lot of the I don't know. I like a lot of the obscure ones.
Yeah.
So when you're talking DC, I mean, like Black Canary, Question, Blue Beetle.
Question.
The Question.
Yeah, it's great.
So Blue Beetle, you got to like Booster Gold then too, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, kind of. I kind of gotta like.
They're almost a team.
I like him in small doses. I feel like he's a little too much.
He's a bit much. So like my favorite obscure DC hero is the Atom.
Oh,
Like
nice.
old Hawkman and the Atom. Like for whatever reason, as a kid going around to yard sales, I found a bunch of comic books that were like old Hawkman and Atom comics from like the 60s and 70s, and I'm like, ooh, these are cheap. And then read a bunch of them, and I'm like, well, it's good enough for me. So
That's awesome. Yeah, Justice Society's great.
Yeah.
And on the Marvel side, I mean, I love the X-Men, so...
Oh, yeah,
definitely, I
super
think
obscure.
Storm. You too?
Who are they? I even know who that is.
we just need the X-Men to start having some good movies.
Wait, the X-Men? You mean Hugh Jackman?
Well, you know, I mean,
Is that what you
First
mean?
Class and those were good.
Definitely need some consistent movies.
Yeah.
That's
Here we
the
go.
issue. It's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Days of Future Past for me was incredible,
Yes.
but like everything else, I was like,
The Apocalypse one was a bit of a letdown, and I was pretty excited for some of those characters. All right, so board games. I see you got a nice collection back there. So what are some of your go-to board games? What are some of your favorites?
So I mean that's actually the social deduction shelf.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
right
I see
there.
that a winner.
Yeah, it's a done winner too. Yeah.
I've got I mean definitely I love Rising Sun.
I was gonna say I see Rising Sun there.
I
Yeah.
finally played Blood Rage for the first time. Really enjoyed that.
Nice.
Yes.
Took me way too long to play that.
Yeah.
Twilight Imperium.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So no Ankh yet, because you didn't mention it.
Which one?
Ankh.
Oh no, I don't. Yeah, I don't.
So
have it, but-
that's basically the there's like a trilogy of games by Eric Lang, right?
Yeah.
There was Blood Rage,
It's
Rising
just
Sun,
shit.
and then Ankh. Ankh. I like all three of those games a lot, and Ankh I think is like kind of
The favorite.
become my favorite because
Yeah.
Really?
Well, I like Blood Rage a lot. That was the first one. Played that, and then Rising Sun came out, and it's like, ooh, it's like Blood Rage, but with politics and like some planning and stuff. And then Ankh just
Yep.
Yeah,
It's a
I
different
agree
gear.
that I've played all three, and I thought I don't know how he did it, but somehow the third one was even better, and I thought that Ankh was is my favorite of the three. I'm also very excited because you haven't mentioned it yet, and you've talked about a lot of this type of game, so I have to assume that you haven't played it yet, which is totally understandable because it's not actually out. You have to try to play it. I am dying for you to play Blood on the Clock Tower.
Didn't see that one coming.
Yeah.
Oh, I played it. Yeah, I played
Yeah.
it a ton.
oh
See,
yeah.
okay, so you were talking about Werewolf earlier and you hadn't mentioned it, and I was just like, man, he's in for a treat if you like those kind of games. Because I said recently, I it's my favorite game of all time at this point. I love what Blood
and
on
you
the Clock
haven't
Tower
even
does.
really
Played
played
an
the, like,
actual
a
copy.
I
physical
know.
copy.
I've only played on Discord a bunch, and I played print and play a couple times, and the game is just that good. I can't help it. But yeah. So anyway, if you played it, then you understand. Conversation passed.
Yeah, no, we've got a regular werewolf group in Toronto, and usually we play a couple games of werewolf, and then we switch over to Clock Tower.
Nice.
Yeah, Werewolf just to warm you up, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Get
Not
everybody
hard to
figure out
stick
who's
around
suspect.
for
Gotta
Clock
get into
Tower.
character.
right.
Well, Tim, I don't think we did, but did we have any questions from Discord that haven't been asked?
I don't think I've seen
Okay.
any. I will double check real quick while you ask Reed another question.
Of course. Hey, what you doing this weekend?
How long did it take for the playtesting?
That's true.
That's a good
that is a
question.
rough part. It's better than mine.
I should have thrown to you instead of.
Yeah.
Sorry, I missed the question.
How long did it take for you to playtest it?
So I probably put a good 5 years into the game.
Wow. Well, it shows because I feel like that I don't feel like when we played that there felt like there was much imbalance with
Yeah.
stuff. And with a game with a lot of moving parts, that is no small feat, right?
Yeah, I definitely haven't felt an imbalance yet. There is a thing in the game that, because some things are randomized depending on your scenario, right? You can have cases where, everyone wins and stuff like that. And there are some people that might find that off-putting, that's like, oh,
Yeah.
that's what we were getting into was oh, we all won, kind of thing. And
Yeah.
and stuff. I'm not one of those people. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, because we
when it
still had
happened
the
to us.
whole
Yeah.
Those are like that Spider-Man.
Yeah,
You were
right.
all just pointing at each other.
But I'm just
Yeah.
saying that I could see someone being like, oh, that's a weird balance. It's just like, well, that's not a balance problem. Maybe don't play that scenario.
Yeah, if you don't like it,
Yeah, if
sure,
it's
you
not
don't
for
like
you,
it.
No, I thought that was good though.
No,
'Cause it-
well,
yeah.
again, though, right? When you can play a game that creates like an experience
Yeah,
where you're
an
telling
experience of
stories
the
about,
obvious- yeah.
and it's not just like, well, I I did a pretty good job getting a high score moving that cube down a track. You
Yeah.
know,
finding a synergy in your team is not always the easiest, but when you pull it off and you're like, man, this person procs this person who has this
Yeah.
equipment that procs this, it is fulfilling. I mean, it really is. Again, you have to work your butt off, I think, from my experience, to actually pull that off. But like, especially with like how I don't know if like stingy is the right word, but like your hand is your life.
Yeah.
You know, when
Yeah.
you're like, if I buy that card right now, that really helps my engine, but then I got nothing for a while, and so I just have this engine. Is this engine worth it and stuff? So it's every decision with that hand, which again is why I almost feel like the main mechanic is hand management and stuff, right? Just because while there's a lot of social deduction, while there's a lot of all these other things, if you don't manage your hand right, you won't play.
But you see,
You know?
I had an entire game where I never had more than like 3 cards in my hand because I was using them to prevent damage to one of my characters because they had like a bulletproof vest. So it wasn't so much hand management. I was using the tableau to keep things going.
Yeah, I guess that's true. At the same time, though, your tableau, you just said, was based on the fact that your hand management was protecting them.
Yeah.
kind of.
But yeah, sure.
and now we will argue for another hour.
Listen, Spencer. Don't argue with me. Anyway.
It could be both.
Oh, I see.
So, how long do you think it will be before we start to see more in the Vigilante universe?
So, I want to get my, I guess the next expansion probably on Kickstarter, hopefully beginning of next year.
Okay.
That's what I'm aiming for. So we'll see kind of how the playtesting goes, and I guess the main mechanic I'm bringing to that are layers. So basically, just an asymmetric ability everyone has at the beginning of the game for the entire game, giving each player kind of a unique action you can do, and So that's
like
the
a
first
bat
one.
cave or
Story
something.
mode. What's that?
Like a bat cave or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
And then story mode is just keep working at it. It's the trick with a legacy game and playtesting a legacy game is you get so much good playtesting on your first bunch of chapters or first bunch of missions. And it's hard to, especially when you're making such big changes, to get people to play all the way up to the last one.
Oh, sure. I mean, I have a hard enough time playing a legacy game.
My first six missions are really well balanced and really fun. Last 4, not so much.
Yeah, working on it. That's all right.
So a bit of a behind-the-scenes question then is that earlier when you brought up the story thing, you lifted up a box. So that is probably like, if it's so far off, that's probably like maybe not final art or something like that, or you're like it's maybe final art.
So this is going to be the cover art for story mode.
So I guess that was going to be my question: is
Yeah.
are you letting us show that?
4 agents here. So it's going to be 1 to 4 players.
Okay.
Yeah. So that.
Is that
Awesome.
an entirely
Maybe some minor
separate
tweaks,
game or
but-
just an expansion?
Standalone.
Yeah, is it
Story mode
standalone?
standalone.
Standalone expansion. But,
Oh, one of those.
One of those we
all of the
could
cards-
add the original in. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you can bring all these cards into Vigilante for sure.
Nice. We now we did. I think the one thing we did say was the only critique I think we even had on the game was on the insert, and I felt bad because the guy who did your insert actually got on our BGG and commented and stuff. And he was very nice. And I it's hard. Inserts are tough. It's hard. But I guess if that was the only complaint we had,
Right.
Sure. I
know.
mean, he also stated a possible fix that we have not had the chance to
Sleeves.
try to with the sleeves. Yeah, we have not sleeved the game yet. So
Right.
if that does fix the problem, then we will mention that in a video for sure.
Yeah.
right? But I did appreciate him coming on and just even commenting a little bit and was like very cool about it,
Yeah.
you know, and stuff.
But yeah, I mean, definitely, I would say that's none of his fault. So he actually recommended I have the walls higher, and I actually did pass that on to the factory, and the factory said they couldn't do it.
Right,
Oh,
and
right,
he,
yeah,
he
yeah.
hinted to that, basically said
Yeah.
due to manufacturing problems
Right.
that couldn't be done.
Yeah.
And that's, hey, understandable.
It
That's how it
happens.
happens. We're going to point out that we don't like it.
Yeah, no,
but
that's
that's just
fair.
how it works.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Absolutely.
No, but I just, it was awesome to be able to just have like a normal conversation with somebody on the internet, which doesn't always happen.
Yeah, which is more rare than you think.
yeah, there were no exclamation points, and I was very confused.
It wasn't all in caps.
No, it was very cool. It was very cool. So obviously, when your expansion and story mode are very close to Kickstarter, we will be begging you for, or very politely and consistently asking for an opportunity to see
Check it out.
and talk about it.
Right, and maybe even another chat.
Oh
An
yeah,
update on what
Sounds
else
good.
changed.
yeah. You guys have any other questions? I don't want to take up all of your afternoon.
I can't think of any right now, but my memory's terrible. Is there anything that you haven't talked about that you wanted to make sure was out there information-wise?
Yeah. So I guess in terms of the Kickstarter is already fulfilled. So so everyone already has their copies that backed. The game is launching in retail March 25th.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I
Nice.
forgot to mention that. That's
Yeah.
on your
That was my
website.
next.
So-
That was my next thing.
I will say it's definitely. I did a small print run, so I only made 500. So I'm
Okay.
going to be doing a second print run, hopefully with the expansion.
Okay.
Half of them went to backers, and then the other half is going out to retail, and it's there's definitely a lot of demand from retail. So I'm going to be doing a second print run at some
That's
point.
amazing. That's got to feel good, right? You know, like,
Absolutely, yeah.
that's really good. That's good to hear because, you know, we're lucky enough to get to see, you know, small independent games sometimes, and you know, and unfortunately they don't always make it. And then when
Right.
they do make it, sometimes you're like, no, you guys, like this game's good. Like you should,
Yeah, check it out.
you should try to find
Yeah.
it.
Just because it doesn't say like Simon on it,
Yeah.
it doesn't make it not good.
Right, right. Oh, it doesn't say
Just because it
Asmodee,
says Simon
Yeah.
doesn't make it good.
Fair point.
but
100%.
but yeah. So we can do a link. We'll have a link,
Sure.
for the website,
Right.
and then yeah, I guess bug your retailer,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
Your
for
FLGS.
your FLGS to get you a
Get you a
copy in store.
Also, everyone, don't forget that somewhere up there has been a link for most of this video to take you to our actual like review and coverage of the game.
Yeah.
Because like in this one, we weren't really going to take a bunch of time explaining how to play because we've had literally 2 or 3 videos where we've done that.
I figure also if you're watching the video with the designer, you
Right.
might be familiar with the game
Of
already.
course.
But yeah, okay. So we will obviously stay tuned for more Kickstarter news. Retail launch March 25th. Is what you said.
Yep. Story
right?
mode coming.
Story mode coming.
Yes.
Yeah, right on, man. I guess that's pretty much all I got.
Yeah, man. I'm spent.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would too. Like I did like the you get the number of cards of each side. I like that.
Oh yeah,
Some
yeah.
good meta information there.
Yeah, we talked about it.
I was-
Everything
Yeah,
on
yeah.
that shield is fantastic.
Yep.
That was a late addition.
No, it's
Much appreciated.
it's
Yeah,
really
much
helpful
appreciated,
though, and
yeah.
like it was kind of something we all noticed kind of halfway through
Yeah, like,
the
oh,
game. Where it's
hey.
like, oh wait a
Because
minute.
Dan's like, man, I really need some like guns or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I kept saying, guys, which deck do you think has more equipment in it? Because I really need equipment. And then, like at the end of the game, we were like, crap. We're just not paying attention.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Our editor Jeff wants to know when the comic book adaptation is coming out.
Yeah.
Really good question.
It could almost be an interesting way to do some of the story mode in the new one, right? Like it's a comic book
Yeah,
thing.
like-
You have
like
some
in
story
Chi-
mode,
like in Nemesis.
like in
Like
Nemesis.
Nemesis.
Yeah.
There's so each chapter before you start it, there's text that, well, you don't have to read it, but
Right.
if you're
You
into
should.
the story, then you
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
want to read it.
Sure.
So
Sure. That's
Sweet.
exciting news, man.
Yeah, cool.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I was not expecting to see a box already.
Yeah.
So he lifted that up, and I was like, what?
So that's coming out tomorrow.
I can't wait. Well, Reed, thank you very much for coming on and talking to us. I know, you and I have been kind of off and on in text conversation, so it's really good to be able to have you to have a conversation. Have you in front of us and be able to talk to you about a game that we've been having a really good time with. So,
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
All right.
guys.
all right, guys, that was our interview with Reed. I was really excited to finally get to talk to him. Like I said in the interview, I'd been messaging him back and forth a bunch, and so to actually like sit down, have a conversation, find out some of the genesis of how everything came about. Did we mention we like the art?
Yeah, I think once or twice.
Okay.
Yeah. And we got to see that box. Like, it's a preview. Like, I was not expecting
Oh.
that.
Story mode. Story mode.
expansions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Expansion's coming. Excited.
It's a game I'm excited to see more content for. So that's pretty exciting. So as we wrap up, be sure to check out all of the other shows on our sister channels and brother channels under Game Talk Network umbrella. There's Miniatures Rundown, Pokemon Rundown, Magic the Gathering Rundown.
You'll get
Check out
there.
our friends with Board Game Mechanics. They're
Jason
pretty
and
okay.
Katie, pretty
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, but did they talk about this game?
Ooh.
So, might be calling that okay status into question. We'll see.
I might have to see if like Jason wants to borrow my prototype. 'Cause I'm not letting
that's
the
great.
Just to
I'm
make
letting-
him cool.
Well, you know, like
It'll help.
Try.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's got good art, so he may not be interested.
That's true.
It's
Good
true.
point.
But there's no miniatures.
There's not enough
And
tan.
there's not really no tracks.
no
Yeah.
tracks, no
Yeah.
taupe. You know,
No cubes. Well, there's cubes.
there's cubes.
Okay, so maybe you'll play those cubes.
Okay. Well, anyways, guys, for the board game rundown, I've been Tim.
I've been Bob.
I've been Spencer.
I was Dan.
We'll see you next time.
Thanks for checking out the Board Game Rundown. If you like what you saw, like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Share our videos on social media and spread the word. We publish new content weekly, including reviews, unboxing, and Let's Plays. And as always, thanks for watching.